justice. No justice. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? 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 Hug the person next to you, tell him you love him. New Orleans. And as some of you that saw the New Orleans meeting, the 9th year, and I've been just about every year, one of the things that always gives me cause to pause is when we look at the state of black folk. Too often, and I tried to make this point in the summit meeting, too often we judge from the top to the bottom rather than the bottom to the top. If you evaluate the state of our community from the top to the bottom, you at best get a surface analysis and really don't change much of anything. And it really only encourages cosmetic rather than fundamental change. Right. If all people got to do is change the appearances at the top, right, rather than the substantive problem in the middle and at the bottom, then they can easily keep changing that and there'll be no problem. If all they change at your house is the roof, and yet the foundation of the house is eroded, it's only a matter of time for the house will collapse, because having a steady roof and a weak foundation leads to disaster. And what America is being shrewdly engineered into is just looking at the top. Well, y'all making progress. Y'all have Oprah. Y'all have Tiger Woods. Y'all have these people at the top. Well, we always had some people at the top. They ain't nothing new. They just showed, I was on the road, they showed the Joe Louis special. Joe Louis was at the top. Joe Louis defended the honor of this country 60 years ago. When it knocked out Smellin', when Smellin was the symbol of the superior race, was a national hero. Went around, unlike Jack Johnson, who was considered the bad black. He was the good black. He represented blacks going into service, blacks fighting the war. That was at the top. But when he came home, they charged him taxes on appearances that he gave the money to the U.S. military. That's right. When he came home, he died broke. And they had to raise money to bury him. And the Internal Revenue said he still owed them. And he died a greeter at Caesar's Palace because at the bottom nothing changed. With Sean Bell cake. He gets to Memphis. They have a march. All over the media. They're doing articles, Dr. King's day is over. He's old God. The new young militants are the new thing. Now mind you, Dr. King wasn't but 39 years old when he died. But when they want to divide us, they divide us with all kind of games. Generational divide. Young against the old. Anything will do. Dr. King gets at the head of the march that they asked him to lead. He's marching. They get a couple of blocks, and all of a sudden some young militants start breaking windows and rioting, saying, we ain't going to be nonviolent, we're going to be violent. Now let me tell you where the trick come in. They later found out they were paid by the FBI. But the reason why somebody could have known there was something wrong is they hadn't broken no windows before Dr. King got to town. All of a sudden they had to get violent during the march. Well, if you were that mad, why weren't you mad before the march? Why you had to wait on Dr. King to decide to break a window? So clearly there's a setup. Run you right into this bail trial. Negroes have a fit when we call a rally. They ain't had no rally. You're going to get a fit at our rally. Well, why do you already have a months ago. You just got mad? They disrupt the march. They had to rush Dr. King off the front line. Rush him to the hotel. He's depressed. Media's gone crazy now. Martin Luther King's day is over. Can't even lead a nonviolent march. Ms. Abernathy said her and her husband, Dr. King and her husband, Dr. Abernathy, flew back to Atlanta. She said, Al, he was scheduled, me and my husband, he and his wife. The four of us were going out to dinner that Friday night. He called me and said, Juanita, I don't feel like going out. He said, if I buy some fish, I'll get Coretta to help you cook it. Would you mind cooking and we'll just come to your house? So that Friday night, Mrs. King and he showed up. She had the fish. Her and Mrs. King went in the kitchen, cooked the fish. He and Dr. Abernathy were in the playroom watching television. She said every half hour, they were flashing. Dr. King's march disrupted. Dr. King's day is over. Nonviolence dead. She said, I never saw him that depressed in my life. She said, I was there from Montgomery forward. I was there the night they bombed his house. He was there the night they bombed our house. She said he sat there depressed, could hardly eat. Finally laid down in the love seat there in the playroom and went to sleep. Didn't even go home that night, fell asleep in their house. Mrs. King slept on the couch. She said when he got up the next morning, he said, I got to go back to Memphis. She said the movement is at stake. I got to show the world we can still have a nonviolent march. That's the march we're going to finish for him April 4th of this year with Martin Luther King III. She said they went back to Memphis. Now watch this. When they landed, the same paid militants. I keep telling you, everybody that's talking bad ain't bad. Everybody, some people are assigned to be disruptive. No matter what go on, they find something wrong. Let me say this in passing. Every agent ain't on payroll. Some agents, because of their own jealousy and envy and insecurity and grudges, they can use them because they know what buttons to push. So you become an agent by proxy because they know how to play on your stupidity. That is two black men that get up in front of Nicole and the Bell parents every day and degrade and demean Sean Bell to protect police that shot them down defenselessly because you're so wrapped up in your envy and your jealousy, you're too low down to stand up and tell the community the truth. If I walk across the street, you want to analyze it. But you ain't talking about these black lawyers. Two of the lawyers defending the cops, black, got the right to do it. But at least the super Negroes ought to be talking about that.
Others can do what they want to do. That's their business. Other civil rights leaders, for various reasons, refuse or can't take a stand or have to go along with the administration. That's their business. But I must say tonight that I know that justice is indivisible. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.